President Trump's Department of Government Efficiency's efforts to reduce the size of the federal workforce may soon arrive at a former Butler County mine. Elon Musk says it's time for change. But is it?
KDKA's Ricky Sayer joins us with an exclusive interview with a former manager at that facility. Ricky.
Elon Musk recently said government employees who work inside Iron Mountain in Boyers should be shifted to higher productivity roles. Then the White House press secretary came out and said they would close Iron Mountain entirely. Now, that would be difficult since the overall complex is privately owned, but it could mean those government jobs inside the facility are eventually shifted elsewhere.
Nearly every federal retirement application goes into this old limestone mine. To an outsider,
quite often they would think it was a dark, dingy place where people wore lights on their heads walking around down there because it was an old mine. That's the farthest thing from the truth.
Kenneth Zawadny spent 10 years here, managing the federal government's Office of Retirement Services. Their more than 600 local employees serve the nation's 2.7 million retirees and their families.
They care about those individuals. They take time when they talk to them.
He retired in 2021 and spoke to us after Elon Musk's Oval Office comments.
I was a bit upset. Those comments were inaccurate, in my opinion.
That starts, he says, with how Musk described their office.
Because it was started in 1955. So it looks like it's like a time warp.
It's nothing more than an office building that's 200 feet underground.
Not unlike this. KDKA has been granted rare access into the complex over the years. It's the size of 150 football fields.
Come on in.
The privately owned Iron Mountain facility is the home of vaults for data centers, old movies, and private collections, along with the Retirement Operations Center.
The speed at which the mine shaft elevator can move determines how many people can retire from the federal government. And the elevator breaks down and sometimes, and then nobody can retire.
Does the speed of the elevator at the mine determine the number of federal employees that can retire?
I'm not aware of an elevator in the mine. I never saw one when I worked in the mine.
Or another way, are there issues with the mine that slow down the process for anyone?
Not that I'm aware of.
It's not the only thing Musk says is slowing the retirement process down.
Because we're told that the most number of people that could retire possibly in a month is 10,000. We're like, well, why is that? Well, because all the retirement paperwork is manual on paper. It's manually calculated.
Is that true?
There is no limit on the number of people that can retire.
Office of Personnel Management data shows they processed more than 10,000 monthly claims twice last year. There were also only 2 months where they received more than 10,000 claims.
I'm not sure why he came up with that particular number.
And he says retirement processing is not completely manual, as Musk said it is.
It is not. There are many systems in place to calculate the different types of retirements there are.
He says what slows them down is they sometimes have to ask for information from different agencies, apply laws, and enter it into an online form. It calculates what someone is owed in retirement.
At the time I took the job, there was a backlog of cases. They were taking well over 120, 140 days to get done. By the time I left there, we were managing those cases and processing those cases in 60 days or less.
Was that changed because of systems were changing? Were you getting more staff?
We were getting more staff. We did a lot of process improvement.
And they launched an online retirement application.
So you see automation as the path forward to speed things up even further, correct?
Oh, absolutely.
Despite their progress, he says automation efforts have been underfunded.
We'd be stymied for a number of, days, weeks, months, years.
Zawadny says automation could be an area where Elon and his team could help.
Anybody who has that sort of background, technology experts working for them, could certainly be a part of the solution instead of, setting it backwards.
That's what he's concerned about.
How much do you worry about your former employees?
Quite a bit.
Do you worry they could lose their jobs?
I worry that their jobs could be in jeopardy without them having the full knowledge of what those jobs mean to the 2.7 million customers they serve every day.
So Wadney says it's worth keeping those jobs at the former mine because he says our area has a steady workforce and is cheaper than a DC office building. He says the underground environment is also perfect for storing records before they are eventually shipped off to the National Archives. In August 2024, Inspectors General report did find that while processing retirements is no longer a top management challenge, there is continued concern they can meet their processing speed goal, although it didn't say why they are concerned. Now, we did reach out to the White House, OPM, as well as Iron Mountain, and we didn't hear back. Ken, Christina?
All right, Ricky,
Wow,
thanks.
really interesting. Thanks, Ricky.